Welcome to the earthvox podcast. The earthvox podcast.
I made it. It was close. I was cutting it really close. I almost forgot to rename all the streams. Remember that saga from a few months ago? I couldn't figure out. Well, Riverside, which is my platform, wouldn't, they constantly update, which is great. They're making improvements, giving you bang for your buck, and then I couldn't, after they changed one thing, I couldn't remember how to rename all the streams. I was leisurely filling up my coffee about 5 minutes ago, going, all right, we're going to go down and hit it hard. I'm really excited to be back here doing a show for you. Oh, I'll go ahead and turn the camera on. How about that? Nice. Nice. And as I was coming down the stairs with 3 minutes to go before live time, I thought, oh no, I better rename the streams for all of the streaming platforms: Rumble, YouTube, X, Twitch. Give me a like, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to share it, because that is the most important thing you can do to benefit the show. Thank you for joining me. I don't have a lot of interest in the news that's been going on. I mean, Epstein, we're going to do Epstein again. Okay. We're going to do Russian collusion again. Okay. Not interested. It kind of feels like the administration is wasting time, which is fine, because I have a lot of theories. I came up with some new conspiracy theories just out of my own brain, which is always fun to talk about. Put my borderline schizophrenic bipolar disorder on display for everyone. You're welcome. So I was watching Bob Ross this morning, and if you're not familiar with Bob Ross, you really ought to be, because he's an incredible painter who died at 52 of lymphoma. It's kind of sad. But he has a, I would assume, around the clock stream on YouTube. And it's hilarious. It's really relaxing. It's really entertaining. It's like the perfect thing to have on in the background. Whenever I have family over, it feels awkward to not have like a football game or something to put on the television just to have in the background. But I can throw on Pluto TV and put Bob Ross on. And I haven't done this, but I am resolving to do this now, the next time I have family over to visit for any length of time. Because first off, it's really impressive. He just, I don't know. It's so simple and easy, he says, when you watch him do it. I've never tried. I'm not an artist in the most literal. I'm not a painter or a sketcher I don't even know all of the words to use to explain how terrible I am at drawing or coloring, even inside the lines. It's not for me. So of course I find it very impressive. But he's so gentle and nice, and he's like, but it's kind of funny, because it's immediately apparent to me that he's not the character. There's a difference between Bob Ross the character and Bob Ross the actual person, because he is like an Air Force master sergeant or something to that effect. He had a military career and died in 1995 at the age of 52 of lymphoma. And his show, The Joy of Painting, is what it was called. Ran for 403 episodes. And he has his own channel dedicated to The Joy of Painting on Pluto TV, which is free and is it's really remarkable. It's just like having cable. And I don't know if you are like me and take comfort on just having something on in the background that you don't really have to pay attention to. Sitcom reruns, etc. Sometimes it's just nice to have the old girl on in the background. Womp, 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 you know, just I don't know. It helps me focus on whatever I'm working on. And remember, we all used to pay what, $70 a month to have cable TV in our house. And now you can go download the Pluto TV app and basically you have cable for free. I don't even think that you have to create an account still, which is kind of weird. It's a little bit unsettling to think we have cable TV for free now because nobody really wants to watch or nobody wants to pay $70 a month for cable anymore. And we've sort of broken that hold that telecom had over us. Or really, it's just kind of traded places because now it's not cable TV anymore. Now it's cell phones and 5G internet that we're all slaves to. But this isn't a Pluto TV ad. It is pretty sweet that you can just go download an app and have cable TV on your device, which is why I bring it up. And then 24-hour Bob Ross. I imagine like, oh, you open a little shop, you sell paints and canvases, and you have Bob Ross in the background. Or when your in-laws come over and don't want to watch whatever Disney trash your kids are watching. My kids dominate the living room. And on one hand, it's cool. Like I have the whole basement to myself. I mean, half of it is a disaster of tools and garbage, totes of Christmas decorations. But I do sometimes wish that I could reclaim the living room from my children. It's just easier. It's just easier. And did you know that Bob Ross, that there was a conspiracy theory that Bob Ross was a serial killer? I learned this today. I don't even know what possessed me to bring it up. Oh, I was trying to find out if Bob Ross was still alive. And of course, as we established, that is not the case. The poor guy died way too young. But this article from Snopes, which I would never rely on Snopes to give me information on anything that is important. Of course, they say there's no evidence that Bob Ross actually murdered anybody. Well, no shit. But from this Snopes article, a rumor that Bob Ross, a popular TV personality and artist, was a serial killer, revealing the locations of his victims' bodies through his paintings. So the theory is he would go hypothetically, unalive somebody and then hide their body, which of course, as we kind of established last week on the show, terrible idea. You got to get rid of it. You got to use a vat of acid or something. I don't know. I got to get Mrs. Earthvox down here. She's the expert. And then he would create a painting of the location as it's ridiculous to think. But I had no idea this was a thing. The rumor circulated heavily on TikTok, with one user posting a video, which doesn't exist anymore. I tried to find it, alleging to show Ross's paintings corresponding with crime scenes. One user responded, "He draws nature." So yes, out of thousands of murder cases, some are bound to look a little like his paintings. Yeah, of course, because he's painting generic nature landscapes that I mean, no offense intended, but they all kind of look the same. Different shapes, different colors. It just goes to show that people will make a conspiracy out of everything, and I love those people, and I want to be friends with them. Because it's my favorite thing to do. One of the just a thought that popped into my head as I was watching it was similar to like who was it? Maury Povich. Was it Maury Povich that did the "You Are Not the Father" TV shows? Where, strangely, now that I think about it, couples of color would come in arguing over the paternity of their children. And some producer thought to themselves, wouldn't it be great if we made a TV show out of this and paid for the DNA test results and did the big reveal and sold a bunch of ads to keep people on the hook? I was explaining ads to my daughter while we were watching Bob Ross this morning. Because it's free, of course, and that's how, Pluto TV is free. All of this content is free. So but they have to pay the people that facilitate the content to our living room TV. And they employ these people that need to make money so that they can pay for their own houses and their own TVs. So they sell ads. And they also probably sell a multitude of data related to the people that are watching and what shows they watch, and even then start delving into the cameras that they claim are hidden inside all of our TVs. I'm reasonably sure that my LG TV, by the way, I hate to disparage a company that employs so many people, as I've, kind of on topic. People need jobs. People need to pay their bills and their mortgages and put roofs over their head and food on the table. But LG really, really sucks. I will never buy another LG TV. And I also have, and then I'll get, in my own defense, I didn't know that LG was so shit when I bought one of their air conditioners. I dropped probably $300 ballpark on this air conditioner that it's one of the kinds that just has the dryer hose that goes from the air conditioner up into the window, which is really nice. You don't have to take the screen out. You don't have to have some kind of brace built up to hold the bulk of the air conditioner like you do with the kind that fit entirely into the window. But it's the newest air conditioner I have out of the 4 that I use. I have one for both of my kids' bedrooms. I have one for my bedroom. And then we have the main LG one for the living room area. And it's the newest one of all 4 that I have. And it's the first one that's breaking. And it does this weird thing where you turn the power off, but the compressor or some inside component continues running. And then it will shut off. This is the latest development. It will shut off and then it will turn back on randomly and then make this horrific sound. On its own. It turns back on while it's plugged in inexplicably. And then it makes a horrific sound and shakes. It's dramatic to say it shakes the whole house, but it's a pretty dramatic ordeal. So if we don't want it to do that all night long while we're sleeping, because of course we're not running the living room air conditioner while we're asleep, you have to unplug it. Or it'll do it, I don't know, maybe once an hour, twice an hour. And I was not surprised to see that it was manufactured by LG when I went to look at it and try to figure out what the problem was. I understand LG wants to sell more air conditioners and create jobs, and it's all, I can see both sides of it. But what bugs me is that it's the newest one that I have. It's a few years old. But of all the air conditioners that I have, it's the last one that I would expect to be breaking now. Nevertheless. So my advice is to not buy any LG products. If you got to buy something Korean, go Samsung. Because I have a Samsung TV, and it's great. I plan on buying many, many more Samsung TVs in my future. That would be my recommendation. What I would really love is some things to be made in America for once. And maybe we're getting there. There was a little bit more tariff news. I'm kind of tired of hearing about tariffs, if I'm being honest. Because tariffs are just a thing that the media uses to attack Trump and blame him for everything bad that happens. The problem is the media has entered this space where they're like, I don't know, a mockingbird. You can just expect them to crow the same things about everything that happens. China and Canada were in the news because of the tariffs. And it was almost this weird suggestion like China and Canada are teaming up against America, and all of these Canadians on social media are cheering that they have this backing from China. Like, isn't Canada supposed to be a Western nation? I mean, they are. They're supposed to be one of our closest allies. Yeah, no doubt, in my opinion, with the backing of China, they're introducing retaliatory tariffs against the United States, which is causing Donald Trump to introduce higher tariffs on Canada for just being dicks. And I guarantee you, I mean, I don't think legally I can guarantee you, but I am reasonably certain, I hate it, I guarantee you, allegedly, that China is telling Canada to take a hard line because we're in fifth dimensional war with China, whatever that means. Cultural war, economic war, biological war. And we still don't know about COVID. We still have no official story on what happened. But we know that Fauci was engaged in gain-of-function research in China. And we know that he and others knew exactly what this virus was. Yet they pretended like they didn't. And they sold millions of vaccines and millions of doses of harmful drugs. Almost as if they released the virus on purpose so that they could enrich themselves and their friends while destroying the global economy. Which, I mean, I don't know. Do you remember in 2020 and 2021 when all this was going on? There were a few voices from the back. Very quiet. Very hard to hear. And they were all telling us what? That this is going to do unprecedented damage to the global economy. And who's responsible for that? Well, we've covered it before on the show. We know China had influence campaigns going all over the world and all over the United States, down to the local government level. How's that for a conspiracy theory? But no, the multinational corporations are going to use their influence to keep these kind of stories away from the mainstream and away from the public, so that idiots on social media can go out and talk about how great it is that Canada and China are the only two countries that are standing up to Donald Trump and his evil tariffs. But it was totally fine with the mainstream media when we were getting ripped off by all these countries around the world with their trade policies. And it really makes me wonder, like, how long have we been under attack in this way? How long has the global apparatus been trying to destroy the West and the United States economies? Because it's in full effect now. And we talked about Zoran Mamdani a few years ago, or a few weeks ago, a couple weeks ago. Few years. And I find it to be really interesting. We know through our discussions and research into Islam and Muslim culture that they're very far right. And, Islamic states back in the days of World War II were aligning themselves with the Third Reich, with the fascist movement, because they're not far off from fascism. But they're being introduced to American politics as communists and socialists. And it really strikes me as a wolf in sheep's clothing sort of scenario. Because Muslims aren't communists. If you want to classify them as left or right, they're far right fascists. But since the culture of America and the rest of the West, I assume, has been inundated with Marxist and communist ideals through the Frankfurt School, which fled Europe in the early 1900s. We have a portion of the citizenry, of the population, that's come from higher education. It's come through the college institutions to think that communism is the answer. And since the United States has basically become a battleground, the Islamic Caliphate that wants to take over the world has to introduce these candidates, as they've done in the UK and Western Europe, as socialist communists. But we can look at what's happened in the UK with all their Muslim mayors to see that really this operation is just about winning power for the Islamic regimes that they want to expand across the world. I mean, this is what's happening. There's a Muslim mayor up for election in Minnesota now, who people are saying is even worse than Zoran Mamdani. I mean, I don't know what they're basing this on. You have no idea what you're getting with these people. I mean, that much is clear. It's a core message of this podcast. These people, left, right, socialist, fascist, communist, will tell you whatever they think you want to hear to vote for them. And you don't know what did Nancy Pelosi say? Oh, we got to pass the bill and then we get to find out what's inside it. That's the reality of politics. And I think that's why we really need a efficient, speedy recall system. But that will never happen. I mean, it won't happen unless we do something dramatic. Because the politicians are all working for the corporations. And I can't think of any better example than what's going on with Steam and what's the other? I can't think of the other the name of the itch is that I have the rundown here. Make sure I share the screen. I think it's this one. Steam and it's in here somewhere. I think it's called Itch, which is like the competitor for Steam. Now Steam is what are they? They're like a game. When I was asking Grok for the rundown, I called them a game aggregator. They don't make games, although they are associated with a company that does make games, Valve, massive game company responsible for really sort of shaping the game landscape for the last 20 years or so. Well, recently, they've come under pressure from Visa and MasterCard and payment systems. I'll just read a little bit from the Grok conversation. In July 2025, Steam, brackets Valve, updated its guidelines to ban content violating payment processors' rules, leading to the delisting of hundreds of NSFW, that's not safe for work, NSFW, / adult games. Itch faced similar pressures, removing adult titles amid campaigns by groups like NCOSE, formerly Morality in Media, a conservative U.S. organization. Now, for me, this story really isn't at all about what they're banning. And it's completely about the small step. And I've talked about it all the time. NCOSE. I was just looking up what it stood for. National Center on Sexual Exploitation has rebranded to become, what was it? Morality in Media. So they've expanded their reach. And that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. These payment processors, Visa, MasterCard, they were trying to do all of the same things with firearm purchases. And it didn't work. So they've wound it back, reeled it back, wound it in. And now they're going with something that everybody can really agree on, right? I don't understand the demand for these porn games. That's what they are, porn games. So fine, ban them, right? That's exactly what they're hoping for. Because that's just the first step. And I bring this up. I bring the story of the smoking in hotel rooms. And I haven't smoked for 10 years. But I remember hearing Lars Larson on Portland radio talking about the ban on smoking in hotel rooms and how it was just one step to get you comfortable with the removal of your own freedoms. That's what this is. These platforms will allow Visa and MasterCard to take over their content, to dictate what content is allowed on their platforms by telling them simply, we won't process your payments on these items, on this content. Now, am I supposed to get upset about the porn games no longer being, you know how embarrassing it is to be shopping for a new game to play and have some weird anime porn game pop up? My kids are walking around. My wife's looking at what I'm doing. I'm not interested in that at all. And that's exactly the point. Everybody can agree we can get rid of this garbage. So there's no public pressure against it. But what's the next thing? What's the next thing they go after? Oh, now we're comfortable. We're comfortable with allowing the economic system to decide what we can and can't buy. What's the next thing? And what's the thing after that? It's like another step towards social credit score. We're not going to allow you as a company to do business because you make content that we don't agree with. That's what it is. Visa and MasterCard have updated their content rules because they think that they can decide what you can and can't buy. And that's the big problem. And that's why this is a story that people are talking about. Because next it's, oh, you can't subscribe to this content creator on Twitch because we don't agree with what he says. You can't subscribe to the Epic Times media publication because we don't like the things that they print. And where does it stop? And what's the criteria? When does it become you can't buy anything from what I think was it Goya? Is that the name of the company? I think it is. They were in the news back, I think, in Donald Trump's not Go Yard, you stupid computer. Yeah, Goya Foods. There was a Goya Foods Trump controversy. I'm going to pull it up because I need to be reminded. It was 2022. Goya boycott after CEO praise of Trump resulted in higher sales. This is why they have to bring in the control from the payment processors. Because they all know by now. They all know that we're fans of freedom. And that it doesn't matter how hard they try, we're still going to elect Donald Trump, which is what we've done. So the apparatus is in full swing. And it just seems like now. But when you look at things in aggregate, you can see it's really been going on for a long time. I mean, maybe going on since all the way back in the early 1800s, the very birth of the nation. England wasn't happy that the colonies decided to go independent, start their own solo project, because the UK was holding them back. That reminds me of the South Park episode with Phil Collins. Timmy 2000. Oh, it's classic. Timmy. So good. Featuring Phil Collins, of course. And he says, well, you know, I mean, all they ever did was hold me back and hold me back. South Park was, of course, in the news. How you like that segue? Because they inked a deal with Paramount to bring South Park to Paramount Plus, which I'm kind of hyped about because I'm a Paramount Plus subscriber. I guess I should feel guilty about that, but I'm going to watch shows. We're all going to watch shows. I mean, it's like being mad at AT&T for whatever corrupt crap their subsidiaries or themselves or their parent companies even have been involved in. Suppression. You can't chase it all away. $1.6 billion to have South Park on Paramount Plus for, I think, 5 years. And I'm guessing, I mean, it's been discussed in other media circles as being sort of transactional. Paramount has paid an astronomical sum to Matt and Trey, the creators of South Park, for the rights to stream South Park episodes for the next 5 years, $300 million a year. And in exchange, I presume, this is how it's being couched, they'll get some leftist, anti-Donald Trump content, which they rolled out this week or last week, which is basically, I mean, it's being criticized because it's basically just the Saddam Hussein Satan relationship that exists from previous seasons of South Park, only they've swapped out Saddam Hussein for Donald Trump. And it's the same shtick. And it's kind of low effort and whatever. I haven't seen it. I'm not really interested in it. I am a fan of old classic South Park, the good stuff when they were still trying. I mean, that's the impression that I've gotten from the more recent episodes of South Park, is that they just are going to keep it going because people want it. But they're not really interested in working that hard on it, which is why I think the new anti-Donald Trump episode that they've released has been received with kind of, I don't know, mixed reviews, bad reviews. Here you go, from The Independent. South Park's Donald Trump mocking premiere set a new record for the comedy show. Well, that's misleading. It was a new episode of South Park. Nobody knew when they tuned in to watch it that it was going to be anti-Donald Trump. And there they are, Satan and Donald Trump, their little love tryst. Whatever. Like it if you like it. Don't watch it if you don't like it. It's just really interesting, the control that the media has over everything. I mean, and just corporations in general. Now, who knows? Did Matt and Trey, the creators of South Park, agree to make anti-Donald Trump content, or did they just think, hey, here's some low-hanging fruit? I don't know, maybe. But it paints a bigger picture about what we're facing in the culture war. And it's like Maury Povich and paternity issues and making it like, I really feel like in that context, people don't understand, the producers, the creators, they don't understand the cultural damage that is being done. And I found myself wondering, after seeing this similar video, which was just a judge on a Zoom, it seemed to be a judge on a Zoom call with this couple, where the man in the relationship said, this couldn't possibly be my kid because my pullout game is strong. Which is, I guess, good content. It got everybody roaring. They were all laughing in the courtroom. The judge was having a hard time keeping a straight face. I mean, imagine saying that to a judge. My pullout game is strong. But sure enough, his pullout game was strong because it wasn't his kid. And this got me thinking, what if they, and by they, I mean, you should know by now who I'm talking about, the people that are trying to take over the world, the people like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and probably Elon Musk, that want to create a servant class and an elite class with nothing in between. What if they faked the results of DNA tests to create fatherless children? Is that a crazy thought? Is that a crazy theory? I mean, did you ever see that movie? What was that Netflix movie about Gary Webb? Gary Webb was, or it was Jeremy Renner was the guy that played. I'm pretty sure his name was Gary Webb. I could be getting that wrong. Jeremy Renner starred as Gary Webb in the movie Kill the Messenger, which tells the true story of Webb's investigation into the CIA's alleged involvement in the crack cocaine trade in the 1980s. And of course, they found him dead with, what was it, two shots in the back of his head, which was ruled suicide. Because he was exposing that the CIA was funneling crack cocaine into the inner cities to the detriment of the black community. If they're willing to go that far, why wouldn't they be willing to falsify DNA test results to create fatherless households? I mean, that would probably be a lot easier, right? Go in at night or just pay off the guy. I mean, obviously, there's an elitist agenda when they're trying to keep people hooked on crack to destroy their communities. And now it's all over social media. It's all over social media. People fighting in the Waffle House. People fighting in the airport, on the airplanes. And you know what they look like. It's all by design. That's the pictures that they want you to see. And that's why I found it really interesting that the first video, because on X, it was kind of surprising that it took so long for this to become a feature. But now they have, I mean, X videos are good. It's just like YouTube Shorts, just like TikTok. Again, this is not an X videos ad. By the way, do you ever hear those Pluto TV ads? They're everywhere. I mean, I hear them 2 and 3 times in a row on the podcasts that I like to listen to. I should probably hit them up since they're apparently just giving money to every podcast. Did you ever hear the versions where the girl was calling it Pluto TB? You know why they do that? A little peek behind the curtain, a little inside baseball here, if you will, even though I'm not a big baseball fan. Sorry about it. I hear all the viewers changing to different streams. Oh no. It drove me crazy. There was this series that ran for about 2 or 3 weeks of this female voiceover for Pluto TV, and she's calling it Pluto TB. Pluto TB. When I don't even remember the slogan, even though, I mean, because this was a few months ago. You know why they do that? Because it's a concept called or phenomena referred to as plosives. A plosive is when you blow air into the microphone with your mouth because you're making a P sound, which creates a puff of air, which you can hear. And it's the same thing with Pluto TV. I mean, it's not even that bad. I don't know. Maybe I'm just practiced. And I don't know if it was this woman doing the voiceover or if it was possibly a producer or a director in the background saying B, say Pluto TB. You're supposed to use B's in the place of P's because they just don't push as much air. Drove me crazy because you're not supposed to actually make the B sound. You're supposed to put the B in your mind when you're saying the P so you don't blow as much air into the microphone. And of course there's all kinds of technology to mitigate these kind of things. And I just can't believe that they put through this ad, which they were spending, I'm sure, thousands of dollars to put these ads on all of these different podcasts. With this woman saying Pluto TB. TB. Pluto TB. The fact that these people have jobs makes me crazy. It means people are living comfortably, raking in all that Pluto TV ad money, saying stupid shit like Pluto TB. Where was I? Oh, yes. We were talking about the algorithm. Yes, the algorithm. I got into my X app, and usually I'll scroll for a little bit before I hit a video, and it totally sucks you in, and this is totally on purpose. You find yourself in a time warp. Soon an hour has gone by and you just scrolled videos. But usually I scroll my feed until I see a video, I watch the video, and before you know it, I'm scrolling videos. Well, this time I was like, I want to watch some videos. So I just hit the video button, and this is the first thing that it showed me.
Look, all we're saying is that we want representation, okay? If Republicans are going to have beautiful girls with perfect titties in their ads, we want ads for Democrats too, you know? We want ugly, fat bitches wearing pink wigs and long-ass fake nails being loud and twerking on top of a cop car at a Waffle House because they didn't get extra ketchup, you know? Just because we're the party of ugly people doesn't mean we can't be featured in ads, okay? And I know most of us are too fat to wear jeans or too ugly to go outside, but we want representation. Look, all we're saying is that
sold as Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota. Kind of interesting. We were just talking about her last week, or no, that's not at all. Anyway, maybe I'll get to that. I'm trying to stay on topic here. Amy Klobuchar, senator from Minnesota. I mean, it's fake. It's fake. Like I don't know. Maybe you can't tell if you're not watching the video, but it's totally fake. AI generated. And this is, of course, about Sydney Sweeney, who had an ad come out this week or a couple of weeks ago talking about her good genes, and everybody's mad. But the first video that Grok shows me is not only a fake AI video of a senator talking crap about how hot or whatever. I mean, I don't know. She's mid, in my opinion, but do you? They immediately, the global blob, media blob, went right to eugenics, went right to fascism, went right to Joseph Mengele shit. And isn't that, I mean, the left is obsessed with eugenics. That's why they've engaged in all of these culture destroying tactics. That's why they flooded the ghettos with crack. That's why the businesses are in the inner city neighborhoods are liquor store, gun store, Planned Parenthood. Because somebody up high hates the black community. Believes they're genetically inferior, believes that they don't have a place in the United States. I mean, you don't believe it's the left? I mean, just test that theory. Anytime anybody tries to do something good for them, it becomes a money laundering operation. Nobody gets that money. I get that money. Because I guess they hate the black community. Or they hate ethnically different culture. But how many people do you think saw that video of Amy Klobuchar and thought, "Oh, that's definitely real"? At a certain point, you realize, like, this can't be real. But do you trust the common sense of the average person? It's like everybody getting bent out of shape about the White House ballroom. Did you hear about this? This is another great example of dishonest, disingenuous, and also disintelligent. I was just trying to go with the alliteration. But the left loves dumb people. They love dumb people. They love people that are for sale. They love people with no morality, and they love people that don't have money, because then they can offer them money to go on social media and make fools of themselves. And the latest thing that caught my attention was the White House ballroom. Because yes, it's been announced. Donald Trump announced recently that We're getting a new ballroom in the White House. I'm really looking forward to my visit to the new White House ballroom. What about you? And this, I think, sort of created some of the outrage. Because what were the arguments they were using? On the backs, Donald Trump announced this $200 million ballroom addition that's going on the White House. Because you had to walk like 200 yards to get over to the other area, and the weather in Washington isn't all that great all the time, so it's a problem. Gonna build a $200 million ballroom on the White House. What's the first thing that comes into your mind? I know for me, it's, do I really want to spend that money? How much money or how much good could we do with $200 million? How indeed? How much good indeed? So since it was recently announced that work requirements for Medicaid and other government benefits will be taking effect next year, I believe it's 2026, X was all a flutter. Or maybe X was all a Twitter. Ha ha, yes! With digs at Donald Trump and the Donald Trump administration about this new White House ballroom for $200 million. Boy, I really wish that we were having health care instead of a $200 million ballroom. You can see me scrolling the feed on X if you want to check out the video. On YouTube, Rumble, X, or Twitch. And this dominated social media. I can't believe we're spending $200 million on an addition to the White House for a ballroom. I wish we had health care. I wish we had SNAP benefits. From Western Lensman. Chuck Schumer, senator from New York, implies the $200 million White House ballroom is government waste. Should we watch the video? Let's watch it. I didn't pre-watch this, so if it sucks, I prostrate myself before you and beg your forgiveness.
Here's even something more confounding. Some breaking news. Just now, the White House announced construction of a $200 million White House ballroom that will begin in September. A $200 million ballroom. Where'd this money come from? Did Congress appropriate it? I don't think so. It's almost like Doge was never about waste at all.
President Trump and other donors have generously committed to donating the funds necessary to build this approximately $200 million structure.
Here's even something more confounding. Some breaking news.
Oh, so it was not, in fact, taxpayer money? It was paid for by donors and out of President Trump's own pocket. Probably some of the $400,000 a year salary that he collects, which would almost fully pay for the ballroom itself by the end of his term. But instead, social media is inundated with people digging at the administration, talking about government waste. To what end? Gotcha. Come on, everybody. We really want to just keep wasting taxpayer money. That's what we want. That should be the goal. Governor Newsom's piling on. What a tool that go. Boy, it's going to be really fun. It's going to be really fun to see Governor Gavin Newsom's presidential run ramp up in the next few years. I hope he gets embarrassed. But this is why, man, we really badly have to get control of the media in this country. And I don't know what we can do that is within the boundaries of the law. I also don't really care. I've heard a lot about Abraham Lincoln this week for some reason, in the context of the Civil War, and all of the federal laws he broke, and all of the different ways that he violated the Constitution, and how Congress just went back and sort of retroactively approved of all of the things that he did after he won the war, of course, freed the slaves, among other things, kept the country united. Now, of course, the victors write the history books. But let's assume that's all true for the sake of this argument. He violated the Constitution. He broke federal law. He kept the country together. He freed the slaves. He didn't allow the secession of the South. He didn't allow slavery to continue on this continent, although it probably still did. And conceivably still does, if you want to really take an honest look at it. I think we're ready. I know I'm ready. I'm ready to endure a little bit of hardship. I'm ready for things to be a little bit expensive. I'm ready to deal with whatever we need to deal with to get this company back on track. Because we're on a road to civil war. We're on the road to states starting to secede. We have foreigners about to take control of the levers of government in states and major cities. What do you think they're going to do with that power? Do you think they're going to work to restore American values? Repair communities destroyed by fatherless families? And intelligence meddling with drugs and DNA tests? Allegedly, presumably. I don't know how to classify my own conspiracy theories here. We're on a road, I mean, whether you like it or not, whether it's sad and devastating or not, I mean, if based on your interpretation. You import immigrants devoid of American values, give them the right to vote in local elections, which can be legal if the state legislator votes for it. It is legal in New York, and look what we have. Zoran Mamdani knocking on the doors of control of maybe the most important city in the nation. Then once they're communist and they enact these communist policies, then the capitalists leave. Now they have a communist electorate, which rejects capitalist federal policies. Then you have unrest and war. Then Russia gets involved, because that's exactly what they did for Ukraine, is what they say. The Russians in Ukraine wanted to be Russian. They were tired of being persecuted by the Ukrainian West, the Western policies of the Ukrainian government. So Russia got involved and said, I rescue all of you. Do you think Russia will come to the rescue of the communist states in the US? Do you think China will come to their rescue? And based on the behavior that you've seen in Canada, do you think Canada would resist China launching an invasion or missile strikes from Canadian soil? Maybe they would tomorrow, but we're on a path. That is my concern. And it seems that all of the politicians in this country are completely disingenuous. They say they support us. They say they're America first. They say whatever they have to say to gain access to power. And then they screw us. And they lie to our face while they're doing it. And then they distract us with Epstein and Russiagate that we've been talking about for 10 years. Oh, don't worry. Trust the plan. Trust the plan, but continue allowing the foreigners to invade, let them vote, let them take over our country, and let the media lie to you about it the entire time. Something's going to have to be done. And the longer we wait, the more likely it is going to fall on you and me to actually get something done. But don't worry. Don't worry, I'm full of ideas. I am. Never a shortage. Never a shortage of ideas here. And I'll always be reading between the lines to tell you what you need to know, to impart my ideas. That's why we need to build a coalition. You got to share this show. You got to get people on board. You got to get in touch with me so that we can communicate in the event that this show is ever stifled or censored. Like a porn game on Steam. So make sure you follow me at earthvox on X. That's where I'm the most active. And that's really the only place that I'm active, although I have been busting my hump on videos. I'm getting sucked into the video side of podcasting. I uploaded 7 shorts this week to X, Rumble, and YouTube. So get on there, check those out. Give me a like, give me a comment. It's nothing you haven't heard already if you're a dedicated listener to this show. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Give me a follow. Give me a share. Give me a like wherever you get your content. I'll be back here presumably Sunday at 11 a.m. to do another show to keep you up to speed on what I think is really important in the world of culture and current events and conspiracy theories. Send me an email, therealearthvox@protonmail.com. And leave me a voicemail if you'd like. 701-787-1121. I'll be back.